What's up, everybody? It's your man, Damednydc. Two mics up. We back again, Monday night, brand new episode. And tonight we have going a little international. We're gonna go uh overseas and abroad, and we're going to talk to a very special guest. Some of you may have seen her before. Netflix, she's Netflix champ, plays one of the illest roles, one of the most creative roles that we've probably seen. Some of you who are maybe into the fashion and modeling game, that follow, our friends over in the UK. You've seen her 2009, I believe, Britain's Next Top Model. She's doing it all. She's fantastic. Love her energy. She's actually here in the States, actually, is the time of this recording, which is really cool. And hopefully we'll talk about that. But I'm going to stop talking. I'm going to bring this amazing guest, here to the other mic and to the screen to kind of sit down and talk with me today. So, ladies and gentlemen, here we have Miss Mecia Simson. Mecia, how you doing today?
I'm very well, thank you. Thank
Good.
you for that lovely introduction.
Hey, I hope I nailed it.
Yeah, you did. Yeah.
Well, I'm glad that you're here with us today. You are, you seem to be very busy, and we were talking, back, behind scene before we got on. So give us a brief introduction of, who Mecia really is and what you're all about, and tell us where you are, at the time of this here and what you're doing here in the States during this time.
Oh, okay. Who is Mecia Simpson? That's a funny question, isn't it? Yeah, well, I guess I'm just, I'm an actress. I'm doing my thing, finding my place in the world. And yeah, I mean, I grew up in Plymouth, which is southwest of England, at the very bottom of the UK. It's like a coastal town. And yeah, like I always knew that I wanted to be an actress. So yeah, I always had that in mind. Never really thought it would be a possible job or anything like that. It was just a dream. And yeah, like I think I just kept going with that dream. I ended up going into modeling first, and then after that I managed to get into acting. I went to drama school and all of that and trained. So yeah, I guess I'm someone that is striving. I want to do good in the world, and yeah, I'm someone that likes to explore, and I want to see the world. That's actually a big thing for me, is to see the
Wow.
world. Mm.
So, and that leads to why you're here in the States. Then, as we were talking, your rest and relaxation and what you enjoy doing. You've had some time to do it here, but with the weather, and you were saying in LA, it seems like is kind of pushing your schedule back, but also at the same time, looks like you're going to be looking for a little R&R when you get home as well, huh?
Well, yeah. I mean, I came out to LA, not really for business. Actually, I just came out because I wanted to escape London. The weather was so cold there, and I know LA is really sunny. I've got management out here, so I thought it was a great opportunity to actually see them in the flesh. And obviously, LA is like the hub of film, so I thought I'd come out, no plans whatsoever, on my own, and just see what happens. And yeah, a big thing was that I needed to relax and kind of get away. And then I realized I came to LA and realized it's not the place that you come to relax. Like, I haven't stopped since I got it. Well, actually, the last couple of days I've stopped because it's been raining. Weirdly, there's been floods and all sorts.
Wow.
But since I've been here for like, 2 to 3 weeks now, yeah, my body's tired. Yeah, I'm gonna have to have a bit of a relax when
When you
I
get
when I
back home.
finish this. I'm planning a trip away again. So
I
yeah.
love it. I love it. So, I love that the fact that, you know, uh, you know, you have some time to do it here, but, you know, with the weather, and you were saying in LA, it seems like, is kind of pushing your schedule back, but also at the same time, looks like you're going to be looking for a little R&R when you get home as well, huh?
Mm.
you had a love for acting, which you know I from the couple of folks that I've spoken to, that was not necessarily their first love, whether it be modeling or things like that.
Mm.
But I'm curious to know for you. So we know you like to relax and you like to, you're a bit outdoorsy and you like to do those type of things. But when you're not modeling or doing that,
Mm.
what else would Misha be doing?
What does Misha do? And that's another good question. Um, honestly, okay. I actually have one here. I am a huge fan of crystals. I collect crystals.
Oh,
I have them here. I've got
okay.
two. People probably think I'm mad, but I love them. They're beautiful, and they give off good energy. And yeah, so I think in my spare time, I enjoy reading philosophical books. I enjoy reading about spirituality.
Hmm.
I do quite a lot of since I was here in LA. I actually went to Malibu on like a cliff somewhere where there was like multiple sound healers with
Wow.
gongs, and there was a Native American playing a flute, and it was like a massive like mass meditation. I love stuff like that, anything
Wow.
that relaxes you and anything that kind of connects you to yourself. So I do a lot of that in my spare time.
What
And yeah, I meet up with friends, and I'll have the occasional drink or
cocktail?
three, four. And yeah, and never one. It's never one. It's a problem.
I
So
love it.
yeah,
Well,
and
you know
also
that
like film, and going to the cinema, and, watching film.
I love that. I think I would probably imagine, in just in the brief time we've had to talk, sounds like sometimes it can be a whirlwind of things
Yeah,
going on. So I can understand the meditation part and
yeah.
really finding that place and space for you. And I've met so many people more so now, I think, that are really more into that meditation, the crystals, the
Mm,
energy,
yeah,
which really, and I think some of it due to the pandemic,
yeah,
and did you
definitely.
really find like you may have already been in that space, but do you find yourself more so during the pandemic, like that really became more of
Mm.
an important part of like who you are and helping keeping you centered, through this journey?
It most definitely helped during the pandemic for sure. But I kind of I grew up around it.
Mm.
My auntie is a healer, a Reiki healer, and I was first introduced to meditation when I was probably about I'd probably say I was about 10. I just
Wow.
remember being in like a teepee with my grandparents, my auntie, and a bunch of other people from the village in Totnes, and doing a meditation. And I think it started from there. My grand does a lot of aromatherapy. She mixes her oils. So, and a lot of self-care. And I think I bought my first crystal in 2012 when I went to Cape Town for work.
Wow.
And I think again, just because I've been around it, I just naturally gravitated towards it. But
Mm.
it definitely helped during the pandemic. And I think, especially in the job that I'm doing, it's always really good to connect with yourself, because otherwise it can get really messy. Like
Yeah.
up here, like
Yeah.
there's a lot, and you need to find a ground to kind of like bring yourself back to normality.
Totally understand.
Yeah.
Totally understand that. So for ladies and gentlemen, so if you're listening, so Misha had, she's English, but there's also a Jamaican or Caribbean side
Mm.
to the mix. So I'm gonna lean right now, and I'm just gonna ask, on the Caribbean side, if you have a playlist or if you're listening to music, like right now, your current playlist, if you have one, would there be somebody like a Spice or Sean Paul or Jesse Royal somewhere in that playlist, or like who would you be listening to on a day of relaxation in your playlist?
Oh, okay. Yeah, well, that's easy. Erica Badu. I'm
Really?
I'm obsessed with Erica Badu, and I'm actually quite sad because um basically I'm a member of this place, and it turns out she was there in London, and usually I would be there, and I've just missed her because I come out to the States thinking maybe I'll get to see her here, or like maybe she'll be
Wow.
performing, but no, she's in London. Um,
Wow.
yeah, so for her, I'm obsessed with her. Yeah, and of course Bob Marley. Like I just
Mhm,
started listening to him again,
mhm.
and I had a day. a few weeks back in London where I just put on his live performances, and I literally had a concert for one. I literally dancing around like a crazy woman. I loved it.
I love it.
Yeah, I mean, he's great.
I love it. So Misha. So when I think back and listening to you, and if you were to sit down and kind of tell someone about your inspiration
Mm,
and what inspired you, maybe to really get into modeling and or acting, like was there one person or one thing that
mm.
you can say that really kind of set that spark to inspire you to get into acting and modeling?
Do you know what? I mean, with the modeling side, me and my mum used to watch America's Next Top Model actually, and we were obsessed with it. And then obviously the Britain's one came out, and I loved the show. Thought it was great. And there was actually a person when I was younger, um, Naomi Lenoir, and because she was a model, but then I also saw, I think she was in Rush Hour or something like that, and I saw that she was doing acting, and I was like, because again, like I was like, oh, like she kind of like because she's like she's got brown skin, and I think I just gravitated towards her. I was like, wow, like I can be like her.
Mm-hmm.
And she can act and she can model, so I was like that, like yeah, maybe I can also do that, like maybe we're like similar, I don't know.
Right. Right.
So yeah, so I think that that kind of spurred it on, and then obviously applying for top model. But then I think just studying, I think the act on the acting side, especially in my later years, is just studying certain actors. Like Meryl Streep,
Mm-hmm.
I went for a marathon of watching all of her films and just seeing the transformation. And like she's a shapeshifter, and I was like very inspired by that. And I thought, wow, I'd love to do something like that. Even like Joaquin Phoenix, again, watching his movies, I'm just like, these
Good
people are
actor.
just like insane. Like they're amazing. Their ability
Mm-hmm.
to just shapeshift.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I think that definitely fueled some fire into me, and like kind of gave me the push to kind of actually really get into it.
So I hear you talk like when you say shape shifting thing. Like, do you really enjoy that part of acting? Like, really, delving into, let's say, a character or
Mm,
a role, and because we're going to talk about, so obviously, Netflix, The Witcher and things like that in your role.
mm,
But when you're preparing for parts, I'm curious, like for you, like how do you go into, let's say, maybe preparing for or diving into that character and developing that character? Like, how does that kind of
mm.
work for you?
I think I think it varies depending on what you're doing. So like one method may not work for the other. But I think like with Francesca, there's so many books on The Witcher that I was able to read, so I was
Hmm.
able to kind of gain a profile from that. Um, and yeah, like also like I think I kind of work. There's an acting technique that I like to use called lucid body,
Hmm.
and again, it works with the chakras. I love all this stuff. And it's working with different energy points in your body. So like, I mean, for instance, like Francesca, you would say that she's got an exploded root because she's
Hmm.
like, raging. So then
Right.
you explore how that feels in your body, and you move around the room, no dialogue, and just feel how that feels. And again, I would say she had an imploded heart because, she can't feel anymore. She's heartbroken. Her baby's,
Hmm.
spoiler alert, if you've not seen season two,
Right. Right.
world. There's so many things that have happened to her and her people that
Hmm.
like that scent is gone. So it's like feeling how that feels in your body,
Hmm.
um, and then you work with it with text and see how that kind of comes out. And again, yeah, it's just a lot of like walking around and just seeing how she moves and feeling how she moves. Um, yeah, I just surround myself by it's the research part that I love the
Yeah.
most, just
Yeah.
researching and just building and building. For me, anything that takes me further away from me, I enjoy
Ah.
more because I'm completely someone else, and like your
Mm.
impulse is different. So
And it
that's why.
sounds like it's enjoyable because it allows you to really be something that maybe you're not, or
Yeah,
experience with a part of you that maybe a lot of times you're not in touch with or you don't delve into much. Is that really
yeah, exactly. Yeah,
that's I
very
love
much
that.
so.
I
Yeah.
love it. And for those who haven't seen The Witcher, you should really check it out. It's really a very interesting show if you're into I really don't want to give it away, but the elves
Sorry.
and magic and things of that nature. But I mean, hey, it's okay. But ladies and gentlemen, don't go away. We're going to step away for a quick commercial break, and we're going to come back and we're going to dive into a little bit more, with Misha Francesca, how she landed the role, and a few other things that I'm curious to know from her perspective as she works on that show. So don't go away. We'll be right back, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to take a quick pause for the calls. Be back after the break. All right, ladies and gentlemen, and we're back. It's your man Dame DNYDC and our very special guest, Miss Mecia Simson. She's sitting here rocking with us today. We talking all things top model. We talking all things Netflix. We talking about Mecia herself, man. We really having a great conversation. So before we came into the break, we were talking about your role
Hmm.
as Francesca, uh, a character in The Witcher. So what I'm curious to know, one, how did you come about landing that role, and two, delving further into her role, really, which is without giving it away, like we're talking about elves here and things like how did you even dive? Because I know you read into it, but like once you got into that character and put that outfit on, like where did the transformation even go further for you in that role once you put that
Uh,
outfit on?
yeah. Well, firstly, I basically I got the job pretty soon after I graduated from drama school, which was really
Wow,
amazing.
wow.
I'd only done like a few auditions before actually booking this job. I didn't know what it was. It was all it was, it's dummy sides, and but the thing is, the way I read it, I knew that it was something period, and I knew she was kind of queen like, and that was something that I've always wanted to play. So like I put my all into it. I did an audition in person, and then I had two more auditions after that. And the final audition was a chemistry read with Tom Canton, who plays Philavandrel. So the process was probably, I would say, between a month and a half to 2 months before I found that I actually got it.
Wow.
Which is, yeah, I mean, I just
That's
remember the
quick.
day it was
That's a
amazing.
quick turnaround, isn't it? That's pretty quick.
Yes, yeah, it was. I think they had been casting like previously to that and hadn't found the character yet. So I was very, very grateful. Very grateful. Yeah.
So getting into the role and putting on that costume for the first time, like
Mm.
where do you see yourself now? Like uh, from the time that you started to where you are now, like where do you feel yourself and like how comfortable has the journey become actually playing the role now?
Yeah, well, I think most definitely, especially now going into season three, like I really I feel super comfortable, very comfortable on set, very comfortable with the fact that I got this job. Because I think in the beginning it's very easy. I think anyone gets this with any kind of big job they have, no matter whether you're acting, if you're a doctor, or whatever it is that you do. I think there is a massive thing of imposter syndrome, which I definitely had when I got the job, and like all the worries of like, what if they like don't like me and then they find a new Francesca, or like, I can't mess this up, and just being really hard on myself.
Right.
So I feel like this, as much as I've really enjoyed it and I was very welcomed in season two, I just feel like I found my place even more in season 3, where I took my place and I felt comfortable. The imposter syndrome went, and I really, really enjoyed the experience.
It's interesting that you say that, the imposter syndrome, because for fans or people watching, and those who are not even artists or
Yeah.
entertainers like yourself, that's not even something that you would really think happened. But can you talk about that? Like, does that, I don't want to say about, like, every time you go out for a role or you
Mm,
perform, like, does that still come in, for you, like, trying to kind of deal with that, because that's like a personal thing, a personal feeling. And,
yeah.
like, how do you work through that? Like, do you revert back, like, to your meditation and
Mm.
your stones and crystals to kind of work through that? I'm just curious, because I would never have thought
Mm.
to hear that, from someone that actually does this for a living.
Yeah. I think, especially like actually speaking about it with other actors and
Mm.
other people, and people from different industries, even looking into what is imposter syndrome on Google, and then just hearing about other people talking about it. I think that helped massively, because I realized that it wasn't just me, and like
Mm.
like it's normal to feel that way,
Mm-hmm.
and everybody feels that way at some point, or they
Mm.
might not.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that helps, just talking about it and just speaking to very experienced actors who are also feeling maybe not imposter syndrome, but sometimes feeling a bit nervous about their performance, or just like
Mm.
wanting to do such a good job. And I think and also just reminding myself of the journey of how I got here from the beginning to where I am now, and just remembering that I actually worked for it. It wasn't handed to me.
That's
So
right.
and just remembering that, just that you earned it, and you deserve your place in
I
wherever you are right now. So yeah, there's a
I
lot of
think
that.
that's huge. That's a huge. I really love, you know, really here on our platform. That's what it's really all about. I think outside of everything, um, I try to use this platform to educate others and empower others and
Yeah,
impact them positively. And I think that's really, the reason why I asked that, because I wanted you to dive into it more. Because I think if somebody just kind of hears that and
yeah,
knows, hey, maybe it's not just me.
mm,
And like you said, going out and doing some research, or being able to have someone that they can communicate to and converse about it, I
yeah.
think makes all the difference in the world.
Most definitely. I think the more that we speak about all these things that we kind of keep to ourselves, keep bottled up, the more
Yeah.
you help other people,
Yeah.
as they've helped me. So yeah,
Uh,
I think it's really important to talk about. Mm.
yeah. Thank you so much for
Yeah.
for allowing us to take that little side journey. But I
Okay.
do I do want to ask, though, in the journey, in the bigger journey,
Mm,
so the show itself, really, it's like a vast world.
mm,
But and tell me if I'm wrong, though, you do a lot of real world locations,
yeah.
but at times, you're probably what they call the green screen or whatever. So
Mm,
how does it act? Because with the type of show that it is it very difficult, or sometimes, like, does it amaze you when you see the outcome when you're working from one to the other? Like, how does that work, and what do you feel about it?
yeah, I mean, most definitely. Obviously, it really helps to have the real thing in front of you, because it stimulates your senses. Whereas if you are looking at a blue screen or a green screen, you really have to dive into your imagination. So it is challenging for sure, but you just have to make sure that you're prepped and know exactly what you're doing. I guess it's a bit like theatre. You don't have everything in front of you. The fourth wall in front of you is the audience, so you've got to imagine that's something else.
Right.
So I mean, I'm lucky that I had the training that I did, because I was able to kind of exercise that muscle. Um,
Hmm.
but I'm always really surprised with what they fill in with the green screen. You're like, so that's what I was looking at. It's insane what they do, and what they can change.
So has there been anything like that you've seen, like, really, like, when you go, now I get it. Like, is there any, maybe one scene or one shot in particular that you probably felt like, man, it got me standing here looking foolish, but then when you see the completed work, you're like, oh, okay, now I get it.
Yeah, well, I most definitely think that that's going to be coming up a lot for the
Uh,
seasons coming out. I
okay,
most definitely think that that's going to happen.
okay, so we got to stay tuned. We got to stay tuned and pay attention.
Yes. But I think there was one thing in season 2 when it was the birdhouse that came out on bird legs. That one, I had no idea when we were looking at it. We were in the middle of a forest somewhere, and it was just 2 beams of light, and like the lights would turn on, and then we'd have to react to it, and that was it. So like we knew we were looking at a hut, but there was no hut. It was just 2 lights. So when we saw that was I was like, wow. And our reactions, I think they worked quite well, luckily.
Okay.
So,
I love it. So, Misha, before we, close out this amazing conversation,
Mhm.
I'm curious to know, for you and what you're working on. Is there anything that you can share that maybe that's coming up next for you? Something that maybe we should look out for coming from you, or are you looking to maybe delve into other fields? I don't know. You writing, producing. I don't know. We don't know. Just curious to know.
You know what? I actually brought a book with me called Writing Screenplays That Sell. So
Oh,
it definitely is on the mind. I haven't delved into it yet, but I loved writing when I was a kid, so I know that's something that I've got in me. So it will be coming at some point, that's for sure. It's another creative outlet. But other than that, projects wise, I'm auditioning at the moment, so I'm free, everyone. I'm ready.
I
And
love it.
yeah, that's it. Exploring. I'm gonna, other than that, I'm gonna go traveling. I've always wanted to see the world, so that's on the cards for me. And I can take my work wherever I go. So,
Right.
yeah,
I
that
love it.
would be me.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, you heard it here from the amazing Mecia Simpson. I love her energy. I know she's dealing with a little cough. She's dealing with a little bit. She's an amazing individual. Great conversation. And before we go, Mecia, I also want to ask you too, if you could, share your social media for those, we'll make sure we put it down in the show notes.
Mhm.
People follow you, IG, Facebook, Twitter, whatever it may be. Go ahead and take a minute and share your information as well.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah. Oh, so where do I put it? Oh, so I'm on Instagram and I'm on Twitter. I'm more active on Instagram, and it's just my name, so it's Mecia Simpson, and you'll find me there. Yeah.
All right, and there we go. We're gonna make sure we throw it out there for everybody to see. You can catch her on IG, Twitter. Go ahead and follow, support. If you guys haven't done so already, make sure you go ahead and check her out on Netflix's The Witcher. Great show if you're into that type of genre.
Yeah.
If even if you're not, try it out. It's a
It's
great
great
show.
anyway.
Yeah, let's do it anyway. Right. Let's do it anyway. It's a great show. Mecia, thank you so much for sitting here and talking with me today and talking with our audience. I wish you nothing but the best and continued success to you and everything that you do.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, there you have it. It's a wrap today on Two Mics Up. Dame the NYDC Two Mics Up. You can follow us online, www.twomicsup.com. You can follow us on our social media, IG, Facebook, and Twitter at Two Mics Up. And if you're watching this on YouTube, that's cool. We still doing the YouTube thing. Make sure you go ahead and you hit that bell down at the bottom so you can be notified for all the newest content coming to you from me here at Two Mics Up. Give me a thumbs up, thumbs down, leave me a comment. Tell me how you feel. Let's talk. Let's talk about it. But we are on Mogul TV season 4. So if you don't know, go ahead down there at the bottom, that little scroll. Go over to the moguls.tv. Check me out, all of season 4, and some of my Mogul TV partners doing big things over there. Thank you all for the love and support. And like we always do, ladies and gentlemen, at this time, stay safe, stay blessed. Mike's out.
007.